Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible Blast. Today we are doing lesson 7 and it's called the Tower of Babel, or some people call it Babel, the Tower of Babel. But whichever way you want to say it is just fine. Now to recap, we're just going to go over what God said to Noah and his sons after they got off the ark. It says, "And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth." All the people had died in the flood that weren't on the ark, and that meant that they had to replenish the earth and have lots and lots of children. And later on in that same chapter, the Lord says, "You be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein." So the fact that God told them that twice means it is very important that they obey him and have lots of children. Now, I would like to be able to say that all the people were very obedient to the Lord after the flood. But that is not the case. In fact, what we see is people could be just as disobedient and rebellious toward God after the flood as they were before the flood. We're going to be reading from Genesis chapter 11. This is what it says. "And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and there they dwelt. And they said to one another, Let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, Hey, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach to heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." So they're wanting to make themselves famous and make a name for themselves. Instead of glorifying God, they're living to glorify themselves. And secondly, this is open rebellion toward God. God had clearly said that they were to spread out in all the earth and replenish it. And here they are saying, "Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered." In other words, if they had a name and they were important, they could do whatever they wanted to do. Not a good idea. "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people are one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there upon the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel or Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from there did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So now they're doing what God wanted them to do. Now they're scattered over all the earth. But guess what they did once they got to the new place? They built a ziggurat. There are about 25 ziggurats that have been found, and mostly in the area of Iraq and Iran. So I'm going to show you a couple of pictures or drawings. There's one kind of ziggurat. And there's another one. This one's a little bit bigger. Now, ziggurats were built for the purpose of worshiping false gods. And they believed that the gods were just above there. And so they were being built so that they could worship the false gods, not the one true God. I'm just going to show you the picture in my children's Bible. This one is a little bit of a different shape. There you go. See? Could you imagine what it would be like if you're building with somebody and suddenly you have no idea what they're saying to you? And what about you? What if suddenly you started speaking a different language, but for you, you understand what you're saying because God has just changed the language that you have. I'm going to be showing you a song from the Answers in Genesis curriculum. This one is called the Tower of Babel. God said you should move around, all around, all around. God said you should move around. They disobeyed him. So they built a tower up high, way up high, way up high. So they built a tower up high. They disobeyed him. God confused their languages. They could not understand. So they couldn't understand 'cause they disobeyed him. God must always be obeyed, be obeyed, be obeyed. God must always be obeyed, for he is holy. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about from today's lesson. When people see the different nations in all the earth, and all the different people groups, they call them different races. But that's not what they are, because we all came from Adam and Eve. That means we are all one race. In fact, it says in Acts, for he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on all the face of the earth. Well, that completely fits with what God said to Noah, that they should spread out and replenish the earth, and what God intended for the people who were building the Tower of Babel. So we are all one blood, and we are all one race. And I have a song here. This is called We Are All One Race, also from Answers in Genesis curriculum. And it goes like this. We're all different, this we know, and the differences plainly show. But being different is not bad. The differences should make us glad, because God tells us by his grace we are all the human race. What race do we all belong to? God's human race. And in my book, that makes us all family. Thank you for listening. Today's lesson was just short, but very important nonetheless. Don't forget to come back. See you next time. Bye for now.